And hello and welcome to Golden Bear Insider. Dan Flanagan with you into the 2017 portion of this athletic season. Hope you had a good holidays. And we've got all the winter sports teams in action here this month for our January edition of the show. We'll be talking some women's and men's basketball coming up shortly. Amanda Johnson, Caitlyn Russell from the women's team, Joey James, Sam Siganos from the men's team. But we'll start out with track and field. We're joined by head coach Sam Johnson and also distance runner Caleb Troe. Thank you both very much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Dan.
And Sam, team's had two meets now, both down in Mankato, one before and after the holidays, this most recent one this past Saturday. So two results that you can kind of point to. Are you pretty happy with the way the season's gotten started?
Yeah, I'm just really excited about how the team has kind of continued to develop a culture of excellence. We're going through some intensive leadership training with our upperclassmen and captains, and really trying to move the program forward from a cultural standpoint. And that's the biggest stuff that we're seeing right now, and we're already starting to reap the benefits of having just some more structure and leadership from our upperclassmen.
And it seems like more and more depth to success in a wider variety of events as you've gone on. You've been, coaching this program now for several years. How have you kind of worked to build that up as you've gone along here?
Well, we've continued to try to recruit across the various events that are in the sport of track and field. So you've got really different types of athletes out there: throwers, jumpers, sprinters, and distance athletes. And it requires depth across those events to be successful, especially at a conference and national level. So, the goal is to be well represented at those conference and national meets, and to be able to do that, we got to recruit and have successful athletes that can continue to come in and build the program.
That meet this past Saturday, team had obviously had some time off before that with the holidays. What do you usually look for in that first meet coming back?
Well, when they get back from the holiday break after the New Year, it's kind of a who's who of who's showing up. I mean, sometimes athletes will come back looking like a different person because they haven't done anything, and then there's people that have actually put in a lot of work over break. So really it's about getting back into the swing of things, knocking the rust off, treating the meet like a glorified practice, and just kind of seeing where we're at. Really the whole focus of an indoor season at this point, and our philosophy is that we want to be at our best at the end of the year. Not that the meets on the weekends leading up to the conference and national championships don't mean anything, but we have the ability to set our athletes up to be in the right place at the right time.
Mentioned having more areas of strength, but if you just sort of look at the team, what do you think are the biggest strong points for the team, at least right now?
Well, I mean, they showed up right away for us on the men's side this past weekend in the middle distance and distance events. That's probably the area where we're most improved, and that's why we got Caleb up here as the male athlete of the week. And we're going to be very strong in the field events for the men and women, particularly our multi-event athletes. And we're looking to develop some young talent on the sprints and jump side as well. So, but a lot of that depth is going to come into use in the indoor season for the middle distance and distance events.
And Kayla, we talk about your success. Congratulations on you won the 3,000 meter event this past weekend, and you had a pretty successful cross country season too. I know we talked to you in the fall after some of your successes there. How have you been able to carry that over into the early part of this track season?
It helps a lot having a lot of great freshman teammates to train with. It's made a big difference. I would say our coaching staff has done a great job of bringing in a lot of new talent. Last year, at the same time, I might have been doing a lot of these workouts on my own and stuff, but this year it's like I always have somebody pushing me in workouts. And even in races, my teammate Peyton Holmes was right behind me, I think like a third of a second behind me for the race. So it just helps having your teammate on your heels, or in front of you, just keeping you going, and you can stay with them.
Does that kind of just lead to some friendly competition in practice, make those practice days a little more fun?
Absolutely.
And what is, the 3,000 meters a little bit shorter than what you're running in cross country. How do you kind of make that adjustment to running a shorter distance, pacing yourself a little bit differently?
Our coaches do a great job of keeping us trained for the distances we're supposed to. So for me, it would be anywhere from mile to 5,000 meters. Just a lot of the workouts reflect the distance you're supposed to be running. We'll run a lot of 3,000 meter pace in the workouts during the week, so that just helps you to get ready for that. But like Coach Sam said, the first meet is kind of about getting your feet wet, so we hope to run a lot faster than that by the end of the season.
In addition to the distance, what's kind of the difference in how you have to train for a track race versus a cross-country race?
A track races involve like a lot more speed, a lot less. There's less, like in cross-country, you have to tackle hills, you have to tackle the grass. There's tons of competitors out there in track. You might have 10 competitors, and you just have to keep thinking about pace and speed at the end of the race and staying engaged.
You mentioned thinking there could still be some room for improvement. How do you think you can go about doing that and shaving a little more seconds off your time?
Well, getting better competition is a big part. Seeing the best runners our conference has to offer later in the season. And, the first race, you can almost guarantee you're going to cut in a 3,000 meter 5 to 10 seconds throughout the course of the season, and we're hoping maybe more. So.
And Sam, a busy January coming up. You have meets just about every weekend here, getting into the kind of heavy part of the indoor season. What do you have coming up on the schedule? What can fans look forward to?
Yeah, well, next week we're going to be at South Dakota State University. They got an awesome indoor facility that's just this will be their third season with it open, and it's a nice place for us to get away from the usual suspects that we go to at Mankato and staying around town here in the University of Minnesota. But the week after that, we're back down in Mankato. Our multi-event athletes will be competing in a heptathlon and pentathlon, and that will be a full slate of events over the course of 2 days as well for the rest of the team. So that's really kind of a conference tune-up. There'll be a lot of conference representation there at that meet. And at that point, we'll be kind of in a place where we can really start to measure up to the rest of the competition.
All right, well, Sam and Caleb, appreciate you joining us here today. Good luck going forward the next month.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Sam Johnson and Caleb Troe here on Golden Bear Insider as the track team will continue on with the indoor season. Full schedule, of course, at the newly redesigned CSPBears.com, so you can check out the website there for all the information on track and field, and I'm sure we'll have Coach Johnson and another member of the team on next month. But we will get into women's basketball here. Women's team coming off a win on Tuesday against Minnesota State, joined by head coach Amanda Johnson and also Caitlyn Russell. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, thanks for having us.
And you mentioned you got that win on the road Tuesday against Minnesota State. They had given you a tough loss right before the holidays, kind of right after you'd picked up some big wins and started a little bit of a rough stretch for the team. Was it kind of nice to get that revenge factor, a little extra motivation facing them a second time?
Yes, and that was kind of our focus of practice was just, they took it to us at our place by 20 points, so we wanted to get them back at their place. And we just had a lot more confidence. We've been playing better. We came off a big win against Augustana on Saturday. And I think we just wanted to stay stay consistent with, our team and coming into our Tuesday game. And another thing, too, as, we have Caitlyn with us, she's making a big impact in the post. And against Mankato, they really had a tough time defending her, too. So the use of her in that game, too, is really important.
Had a tough offensive game against Wayne State last weekend. They're a very good defensive team, but then scored well against Augustana and against Minnesota State as well. What did you kind of do to get the offense going a little bit after that game?
Friday we just couldn't hit a shot, and we just had a bad shooting night on Friday night. So we really wanted to come in to shoot around on Saturday, get a lot of shots up, get more comfortable with our guard shooting. And it just was a different team on Saturday. I think with Caitlyn inside, outside, and our guard shooting threes. Lauren Shiflett was 5 of 10 from the arc. And just moving the ball around to Anna Schmidt, our leading scorer, had 4 points against Wayne, and she showed up against Augustana with 26 points. So that made a big difference, too, for us, playing on Saturday.
Been mixing some people in and out of the starting lineup. Are you starting to get pretty comfortable with your combinations, the starting five and then who you're bringing off the bench?
Yes, now we're pretty much set. We were, mixing up a little bit, but now we have our set starting five right now. And then, our typical players we bring off the bench. I think our starting five have really been playing together a lot better lately, coming with our post play and our guard play. So, yeah, we're staying consistent with our starting five now.
And you mentioned the offense has maybe been up and down a little bit at times this year, but pretty consistent defensive identity throughout the whole season. How have you been able to maintain that?
Like I said last time, we always stress to the girls 62 points, whole team 62 points, and then out-rebound them by 5. So we go into every game stressing that, our defense, and we always say if our defense gets stops, our offense will play a lot more easier, pass the ball around a lot, keep the ball in our hands. So our number one thing is, defense, defense, defense. I think our team can score, so the better defense we can play, I think our offense will look a lot better.
And Caitlyn, you responded very well to being put back in the starting lineup. What was kind of your mindset when you were put back in that starting five before last weekend's games?
Just working hard. Practice has been we've been pushing each other. Last week's practice, it was pretty good actually. We were actually competing and making each other better. So just pushing each other, and then just being like a starter. I want to still be a starter. I want to help my team and with wins and stuff.
Especially in that game on Saturday, you were connecting for a lot of baskets with Michaela Jones, kind of setting you up inside. The way the lineup's set up, really two true point guards on the roster. How does that kind of help you as a post, having players that can get you into those good positions to score?
Well, me and Shay, we played in high school with each other actually, so we have that connection. And then Schmitty, she's been passing me the ball well too, so she's been seeing me a lot more. And then I see them, if I get doubled, I'll kick it out to them, and they have a shot.
Mentioned the defense being good, and you're kind of the true rim protector in that first unit, playing in a four-guard lineup. Kara Fredenberg can defend the post a little bit, but how do you sort of approach your defense, knowing you're kind of that last line of defense there with the smaller players on the floor?
I know I can't get in foul trouble. If I do, I get yelled at sometimes. But I know I have to help my guards because they're helping me. I have to trust them that if I help them, they're going to help me. So.
You've always been a good shot blocker, and as you mentioned, you kind of have kept the fouls down this year, been able to raise your minutes per game a little bit. How have you sort of adapted over your time at Concordia to learn how to still be aggressive going for blocks without getting into the foul trouble?
Beginning of this year, I was kind of struggling, but getting used to how the refs are playing each game, or reffing each game, I'm adjusting how I should play defense and just staying between the person and the basket.
Amanda, the team now at 500 in conference play, kind of right in the stretch here where you can make a late season push. What would be the biggest key you see to being able to do that and go on a run heading into the conference tournament?
Being consistent, that's what we can do the best. I mean, coming off Augustana winning Mankato, I think just being consistent. We can't have a team not show up on Friday and then all of a sudden show up on Saturday. So our biggest thing is being consistent Friday and Saturday. And with our schedule, we are home again this weekend. So just stressing to the girls, we have to have the same team show up every game now, especially with end of the season conference play. You don't know what's really going to happen. So right now it's pretty much do or die. We really have to get our conference wins. So just staying consistent.
We've got Mary and Minot State coming in this weekend. What can you tell us about those two teams?
Well, Mary just came off a big win against Northern, so we have them on Friday, so we have to be ready to go. They're a tough team. They're going to both mix up a little bit, 2-3 zone and man, so our offense has to be ready, to play both. But they're both good teams, especially Mary coming off of Northern. We really have to be ready to go, especially our Friday night game, because sometimes we struggle a little bit on Friday. So just, the same thing, can't stress enough, consistency, playing our defense, and then just protecting our home court this weekend.
All right, well, thank you both very much for being here, and good luck this month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amanda Johnson and Caitlyn Russell here on Golden Bear Insider. Again, this weekend, Concordia at home with the doubleheaders, Friday beginning at 6 and Saturday beginning at 4. Mary on Friday and Minot State on Saturday. So we will close out the show talking about the men's basketball team here. We're joined by head coach Joey James and also Sam Siganos. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
And I guess coming off the game on Tuesday against Minnesota State, it's been a tough stretch here for the team. But what have you, I guess, Coach, been working on with the team this week, especially since that game on Tuesday?
We're trying to get more consistent. I think Amanda kind of hit it on the spot. Both men and women's teams, I think that's just kind of what we're trying to do right now, but focusing more on us. We're a young group, and I hate to continue to repeat that. I think we're talented enough. Our depth is there at times. I just don't think we play consistent enough. And it's been extremely disappointing to me. I know it's been frustrating for our guys because of this time of the year. You should have a starting five established, and we're still searching. And it's the first time in my 15 years of being in this profession that we've swapped around so many different times. And again, we're going with a different lineup this Friday. And I'm just trying to find the right guys that will play with consistent effort, that will play consistent defensively, that will play with passion, and that have heart. And again, it's a good group of guys, but we got to compete for 40 minutes, and right now we're not doing that.
You mentioned you'll be making some changes this weekend, but you have been giving a little more time to the freshmen, starting 4 of them in the last game. Have you liked the energy that some of those younger players have given you, at least to start the game?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, not take away anything from the rest of our guys, but that 4 freshmen, I mean, it's eventually when these guys continue to get more experience, I think they're going to end up being a heck of a class. But with that being said, there's other pieces to that puzzle also that have to continue to play well. But our freshmen, and honestly, I think we're relying heavily on them when we probably shouldn't at times, and they've handled it pretty well. I expect more out of them. I mean, I think they know that. But it's a good group. But again, the other guys too, our sophomores has got to play better for us. Our 1 junior and 1 senior, they got to be better for us. I mean, it's a team deal, and right now we're just really inconsistent as a team, and that's just something we got to continue to get better at with 12 games left.
And as you go into those last 12 games and try to see the improvements and stay positive, what is maybe one thing the team is doing that you feel you can hang your hat on that's going well and kind of build off of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to get better defensively, and I was talking to the guys about this yesterday. I believe we're 5th in field goal percentage defensively in the team, but we're also, I believe, 14th or 15th in points allowed. And so why is that so skewed? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we turn the ball over too much. And again, it's not answering your question in terms of being something on the positive side of things, but it can be a positive if we take care of the ball. It can be a positive if we don't allow transition baskets and second chance points. I think if we can eliminate those couple things, it can turn into a positive deal for us in terms of wins and things of that nature. And it'll eliminate us getting beat by 15 or us getting beat by 3 or 4. And that's something that we got to continue to clean up in practice. But the guys are working on it, But again, I always tell them we can't go play. These guys got to go out there. They got to make the plays. They're the ones that's got to compete. We got to continue to challenge them. We got to continue to motivate and grind them out.
And Sam, you've seen your role increase here over the course of the year, becoming more and more of the primary point guard. How have you been able to improve individually, do you think, over the course of this freshman season for you?
Just learning after, our captains on the team throughout practice, and, each game for me as a freshman is like a big step, learning-wise. So I'm just trying to take it day by day.
And what is one area you think you can still really try to work on in terms of improvement?
Well, there's more than one, that's for sure. But probably just defensive-wise, of course, not turning the ball over, and I put a lot of pressure on myself on trying to get everyone ready for the game. So that's for sure a few things I need to get better at.
I've noticed you taking on a little more of a vocal role, like on the sideline when you're not in there cheering people on out on the floor. Is that something you've kind of, knowing that you're one of the younger players, sort of tried to adapt to, and is that just sort of the way you've always played?
Yeah, I mean, being on the sideline, it should be a given that you should be cheering for your teammates. So, it's not really a role. It's just something that you should be doing.
And I guess what was, coming to Concordia now after you played in high school, what's been the biggest thing you've kind of learned here about this level of play and the adjustment from what you saw in high school?
Probably the physicality and, how quick things happen. And so I'm still trying to get used to that.
Been able to get a lot of assists in the top 10 in the conference in assists. What's kind of your how do you build that, I guess, chemistry with your teammates and reading the defenses, being able to get shooters into good positions?
I try to learn each practice. I tell my players that, just cut, I'll find you. And so I just rely on them to do their job, and that means I can do my job. So it makes everything easier, I guess.
And, Coach, you bring 2 teams in this weekend now in Mary and Minot that have had some struggles at times this year, too. It's your last chance to play at home with a couple weeks on the road coming up after that. What have you kind of stressed to the team about just the importance of kind of getting things going this weekend?
Yeah, it's it's a consistent part for us. Last week against Wayne, I thought we played 5 minutes of basketball of the 40, and then we come out the next night against Augustana, and I thought we played, close to about 30 minutes of basketball and really competed. And again, I tell them all the time, just because we compete and play hard doesn't mean the results are going to be wins all the time. But it's a step in the right direction. We understand it's a process. But we got to continue to just play hard every possession. It's got to be 40 minutes of basketball. And I'll be honest with you, I have not discussed anything about Mary or Minot this entire week of practice. Now, a lot of it has to do with in between with Mankato trying to a short prep turnaround from Augie. But right now it's about us. It's about us more than anything right now. And I feel like we have to get better at what we do on both ends of the floor before I worry about what Mary's doing. Now, our staff is scouted both teams. We've watched plenty of film. We will prepare these guys for the game, but I think that we have to be prepared for us more than anything moving forward here. So it's that time of the year where it's so much more about us than the other opponents.
All right, well, good luck going forward, and thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Joey James and Sam Siganos here on Golden Bear Insider, as that will do it for the interviews here today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and definitely, as I mentioned, some big doubleheaders coming up this weekend with Mary on Friday, Minot State on Saturday. And if you're watching this right away here, recording this on a Thursday, I'd encourage you to come out Friday, the basketball games, and then also Concordia will be honoring their national championship volleyball team in between those two games, so definitely encourage you to come out to the Gangelhoff Center for that. But until next time, do want to thank our guests one more time, Sam Johnson and Caleb Troe from track and field, Amanda Johnson and Caitlyn Russell from women's basketball, and then, of course, Joey James, Sam Siganos from the men's basketball team. Should be back the first week of February, kind of getting back to our regular schedule, but until then, thank you so much for watching. Dan Flanagan here with Golden Bear Insider.